All right, welcome everyone to a live edition of APS Radio here in Indianapolis, live in the fishbowl at FDIC. Yes, and
awesome.
My name is Jim Burneka, the Beard of Wisdom, and I've got two very special guests with me today that I talked them into as a hard sell, but I got retired Chief Pat Kenny and Dr. Sara Jahnke.
That's why she's in the middle. She has her own audience. There's no clapping for either one of us, you'll notice.
Everybody's standing in all of you in your presence.
Yeah. You guys are ridiculous.
All right. So I think all of us have been a big part of FDIC for a long, long time. I wanted to, first of all, just dive into what the three of us are teaching this year. Who wants to go first? Should probably be you ladies, but
should be. I agree.
Should be.
Because that's monumental, so that's why you're going first.
I was going to say, so then Pat's going first.
Wow, fishbowl and getting nailed. Okay, all right.
I would expect nothing less,
That's
right? Yes.
Now both of you have already taught.
Yes.
Yesterday for the Women
in Fire.
Women in Fire. But you're still teaching throughout this week. So when are you teaching next?
So apparently tomorrow I'm doing one on cancer. I was unaware, but I will be doing one tomorrow on cancer. It's going to probably be the best one I've ever done. And then Friday, Science to the Station.
Yes.
Taking science, making it practical. It can be fun and exciting. I mean, it's amazing.
That's a really good sell. After I asked you, it just kind of dawned on me that why would you ask Sara to come and pitch her presentation when it's at the same exact time that my presentation is?
Well, don't feel bad. That happened yesterday, and I had to recruit 4 people in the hallway to come in and listen to me. So I promised them lunch.
Because
they haven't caught up with me yet.
Because so many people are like, "Oh my God, science! I can't wait to get into that presentation." I know. It's like it does sell itself. What is sexier than science?
No comment. No comment at this point.
Me apparently.
Be in trouble.
Hopefully. What are you going to talk about during that session on Friday?
Well, I think it's self-explanatory in the title, but
the metric system.
No. So we're going to talk about. There's like 80% of the research that's been done on firefighter health has been done in the last decade, dozen years-ish.
Yeah.
And we've done a really bad job as scientists, in the other non-fire service world. When you publish a paper, you do a study, you publish on it, and then that is your outreach. You put it out into the universe. It's an index in PubMed, those types of things. In the fire service, everyone's like, so what does that mean for me? Like, what does that result mean for the person on engine 2? What does a fire chief need to know about that? And that's one piece that we've kind of fallen short on in the past. And so we're trying to take the results and go, how can you do actionable things tomorrow with the results we found today? So one example, and I'm Chief Jahnke's there, so it's not just me, it's a twofer. I talk about the science, he talks about what does that mean at the station level? What does it mean at the firefighter level?
How to make it the practical.
Yeah. Like, for instance, there was a study that came out last, I'm making up the date, but I think it was about 6 months ago. Give or take 3 years. I don't know. But the
scientific accuracy, we got it. We're all right.
It's sometime in there. It doesn't matter. It's the results that matter. So looking at, there's a lot of concern around PFAS. There was a study out of Australia. It's being replicated in Arizona, looking at how can you reduce PFAS levels in your blood. You give blood. Plasma is the best. Whole blood, also good. So, there's an actual intervention, something you can do as an individual. Why are you laughing at me?
So, okay, because I've talked about this before with other people, so it's just funny. But, yeah, I know what you're talking about, the Mick Tisbury Australian PFAS study.
Yep.
You donate plasma and knocks down your levels of PFAS. In my head, though, I just thought about, I pictured the firefighter, donating this plasma and getting rid of that those levels in the system, but then he's just donating that blood to some random other person. Like, hey,
So
here's some PFAS for you. Sorry.
So here I had that question, and this is what I've been told. So here's the thing: is one, everyone has, like in general population, everyone has some levels of PFAS in their blood, but they're getting such a small amount. And when you need to get blood, it's for like very, like it's like there's been a trauma or there's been a, so it's fine. They say it's fine.
Who are they?
The people at the Community Blood Center. And the I don't know, who do you give blood to? Those people, the people you give blood to.
Asking these very in-depth, deep questions of the scientists. Easy here now, all right?
Who are they?
So we're done now? Is it?
We only got about 58 minutes here.
No,
We're doing okay.
That's great. The fact that you're taking these studies and doing practicality. Probably, I always think about your buddy Dr. Gavin Horn, who, him and Kenny Fent did tremendous stuff when, Gavin was at the Illinois Fire Service Institute, actually showing how to take that science and be practical about it, actually use it in the fire service. So I love what you're doing, although I'm not going to attend it because I'm teaching.
And what are you teaching?
I'm teaching everybody how to create or enhance their fire department's wellness program.
Love it.
So all about wellness, but there's so many different components of that. So we'll talk about cancer, we'll talk about behavioral health, we'll talk about
sleep
is in there, financial wellness. We kind of skip that over a lot of times until we're 15, 20 years in, and we're like, oh yeah, what's a Roth and what's a pension and all that stuff. What else is there? Exercise, nutrition, all the things that I stink at. But I at least could talk about it, so.
Do you find people are overwhelmed by that? When you talk about a wellness system and you kind of come in so comprehensive that they're like, well, wait a minute. I mean, we as firefighters like things. That's why I think your research is so applicable, because everybody's the show me state. Show me how that applies to me, and then we'll do something about it. So we've kind of brought physical fitness in over the last 30 years, and we're talking about mental health now over the last few years. We're doing things in little bites. Sometimes I've seen men and women sit there and go, you want me to do what? I can't do all of those. Give me just one of them, and I'll try and do it well.
So this is, if you think about it, at this particular place, you'll have your Jim Mosses and Dan Kerrigans doing fitness and nutrition, 4-hour sessions just over that. Russ and yourself are going to do the cancer stuff. Yeah, surprise. With the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. There's all those different facets of wellness throughout this this whole conference. Dan and Frank doing their behavioral health stuff, Dina, and I'm trying to take all that in once in an hour and 45 minutes. So it is it's the highlights. It's really about how to even go and about implementing this stuff in your fire department, because each fire station, every department is going to be a little bit different. Their priorities are going to be different.
Right.
You could be Indianapolis Fire Department, you could be a small rural department. So it's all different. So it's a matter of really, and the first part I go over is figuring out what your priorities are, and then going from there, and knocking off those low-hanging fruits, and then going to the high-hanging fruits, and so on and so forth. But this is all, to me, is a basis of what your program can look like. It's just a matter of what is specifically best for your guys and gals.
And I think that breaking it down part is important, because as a fire chief, a lot of times, and those fire chiefs that have been listening out there, the first question is, what's it going to cost me? What's the expense in that? What's the budget impact? Right, it's always million. It's like, yeah, but you don't need to spend all that money. You can start it in those pieces, break it down, and some of it isn't going to cost you anything other than buy-in. Getting the people's and your buy-in as a leader, that you're role modeling what that is. And that, as you know, doesn't always work.
Well, I actually, one of my slides in there has and you would appreciate this because you are a pop culture nerd like me. Grew up MTV, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, so I actually have a slide with Axl Rose in it. And it's Axl Rose from the Patience video. And it's just, that's it. patience. It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
It's going to take some time. You have to have some Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose, a little patience.
I noticed when you looked at me, you didn't include me in the pop culture. I wonder, are there any Lawrence Welk videos in your things?
No.
Okay.
No. I do have Marvin Gaye.
Oh, okay. We're starting to move forward in that
Okay.
direction. I was just feeling kind of senior citizen.
Marvin
there
Gaye
for a
in
minute.
there. I got Oprah on there. Like I am
Oh.
going.
Okay.
Everybody's going to look underneath their seats. So they might have a prize.
What are you
in
going to put
mine.
gum or something
In
under?
mine. Are you going to offer prizes in your classes?
Oh,
Yes,
now we got
I
competition.
am now. Actually, now we're going to have T-shirts. We're going to have a
There you go.
T-shirt giveaway in my room.
I'm going to have
Um,
shrimp cocktail from Harry and Izzy's. Like each person is going to have an individual shrimp.
that sounds disgusting. No, I'll have protein bars.
I'm going to be raffling Jim's truck. So if you really come
I'll
to
give you
mind,
his dog.
you're going to like that.
Get it? You could probably get it. It's valeted right now at the
okay,
hotel.
I know. I've got somebody with their eye on it right now.
It needs a wash.
That's
Does.
okay.
Yeah. No.
I didn't
Does.
promise.
And it's got a lot of dog hair in there now.
Yeah, no,
It
but
is.
I'll give you the cleaning.
All right.
Jim's
So we kind of got to put our stuff in a little bit, sell our
Yes.
stuff. But what about you, Pat? I mean,
I've
you've
just come to
done
kind of
this.
vacuum some of the areas that are open, and I'm quite good
You
at
know,
that.
You're.
It's a good
I'm
It's
in.
It's important.
It
I'm
is.
intrigued. I've wanted to ask you about this, but I kind of ended up waiting until really right now because I knew we would be doing this. You know, you've always been, the last few years, been doing your presentation on taking the cape off. Just
Correct.
like your book there.
That's it.
But now, this presentation is putting the cape back on.
Correct. And that was that was Chief Halton's idea. My appearance here this year came last fall when he said, "I want you to come and I want you to do 2 sessions. I want you to do Women in Fire," which I thought amazing audience, and boy, I learned a lot. And I told Sara, I sat there through the keynote and felt like I needed to lean over to the lady next to me every 5 minutes and go, "I'm really sorry, guys are that way." Every man should sit through that presentation. They were powerful. He said to me, "I want you to do part 2." And I go, "What's part 2?" He goes, "Part 2 to taking the cape off. What happens after that?" I'm like, "I don't know what part 2 is." He goes, "Well, you figure it out. And I want you to do it twice." I go, "Yeah, I'm not coming for the whole week." I go, I coach baseball. I'm retired now. And I said, "I coach baseball at the high school." So, "Well, okay, come in on Sunday night, and you'll teach on Monday, and you'll teach again on Thursday." I go, "No offense, Chief, can you count? Like, how many days is that you're going to have me here?" And he goes, "You'll figure it out." Click. And that was the end of how this occurred. And I figured I'd come down here and give him grief. So I'm giving him grief now. And so I worked on that. And I thought through, because a lot of times when I finish the presentation, I never get any questions. I'll always say, like we all do, "If you got any questions, please feel free to say something." And it's usually crickets. But then I'll have a line standing when I'm done. And a lot of times people will come up and go, "I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you get up there and be that vulnerable. I don't know." Well, here's a little hint for anybody who's ever asked it. I'm not up there alone. Just like you can't see who's behind all of us right now on this camera, there are loads of people behind us, or we wouldn't be here. And I always tell myself, I've got my wife, and I've got my son, and I've got my dad, and I've got every single first responder who ever took their life standing behind me going, "You need to tell them the story. You need to break the stigma." And somebody said to me, "Well, okay, you've convinced me to take the cape off. When do I put it back on? Why would I put it back on?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah. Okay, I guess maybe that's part of step 2. So this pilot, and I told the great audience I had on Monday, I need your feedback. Don't just pencil whip the critique. I need to know, was this on target? It was on target. It needs a little changes. It really needs a lot of changes, or I wouldn't have my worst enemy sit in your class." I said, "Just let me know." And so I tried to paint the picture after each of the challenges I'd been through in my own life. We all have challenges. Everybody does, just to different degrees. How do you decide to go back in the closet and put it back on again? If you've just been through pain and it hasn't worked for you, why would you? And that's the gist of the class, is what drove me. Sometimes the factors that drove me to put it back on were from the outside. It was social pressures. Like when my dad died, it was, you've got to be the man of the house. I was 14. I didn't know how to be 14, let alone the man of the house. And sometimes those pressures were inside me going, well, I'm the fire chief, I got to continue on. Everybody's relying on me like the place would, go to hell if I wasn't around, which is never true. And that's what I tried to do yesterday. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm doing it again on Thursday at 10:30. And I really want those of you, if you're going to come and attend, I really do need your feedback because it's important. I'm operating in a vacuum and trying to do that course when some of the audience, none of them yesterday had ever been to taking the cape off. So it was, I have to give them some of that and then mix in how do you move forward to the next step. So that's been the challenge. And as Bobby, as always, was right. He made me think and made me work, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I'm looking forward to seeing that on Thursday.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sarah's teaching, so I'll have to check if we're in competition. I don't want to give your truck away when I'm in competition and you're in the class. I don't know how the hell that's going to work out. Sarah, did you bring a vehicle? Maybe I can give yours away during if Jim is in there.
You can have my sister's.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sure she's going to like that.
Did you drive?
No, I flew, but she had people bring in
Okay.
Okay.
their training. It's it's a nice Tahoe white. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll use that vehicle instead of yours.
Yeah.
It's dirty. Does it have dog
Mine's
hair in
out
it?
of, mine's
little
out of
bit.
warranty
Okay.
now, so
Okay, all right.
just a little bit.
Did I derail this well enough for you there?
You almost made me cry.
Well, that wasn't the intention.
No.
People always say they want to sell Kleenex when I talk, and I'm like, no, that's not the intention. Really is to have you leave with hope and feeling some resiliency, but it's a little sad as it goes along. And I'm just watching a guy walk out. You know me, I believe in signs. There's a guy who just walked by wearing a Superman insignia on a blue sweatshirt.
That is.
He's got his cape on, right? He's going to take it off at some point, but that happened, I just got goosebumps.
We've talked about signs.
Yeah.
I think on one of our shows, actually.
We did.
Good stuff. You were in Ireland not long ago,
I was in Ireland
was there-
September.
and I haven't talked to you, I don't think, really
No.
about that.
No. So I have, we don't have enough time for this, but there's a friend of mine that I met years ago as a coincidence who's a musician. And he reached out a year ago, right, really at about this time. And he said, I'm thinking about doing a documentary. And I'm like, do you have any idea how much energy and work and goes into a doc? You can't just tell him we're just going to do a documentary. He goes, no, I'm going to do a documentary. I go, okay, what are you going to do it on? He said, I'm going to do it on mental health. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. He goes, yeah, I'm going to do it on your book. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, I'm going to do it on your book. And I go, how did you arrive at that? And he said, I had a dream. And he said, your wife and your son were in it. And they told me to do the documentary. I'm going, well, they were both very insistent when they were here. I can imagine what they're like on the other side. I go, I'll try and help you any way I can. What do you want me to do? And I was scheduled to go to Ireland in September. And he said, when you come, I want to interview you. And I was there a few years ago to spread my wife's ashes. And as the last day, as I was getting ready to leave, my cousins were all together. All my first cousins are in Ireland, not here. And we were having a very nice dinner, and they said, we have a surprise for you. And this gentleman walked in at the end of dinner, and they're like, that's your cousin? And I'm like, no, I don't have a male cousin. They're like, yeah, you do, on your dad's side. I'd never met him before, didn't even know he existed. And he came up to me, he said, I live on your dad's farm, and your dad's house where he grew up is still standing. My mom and I have the house next door. He goes, you've got to come into your dad's home. Well, we were leaving the next morning to go, and I'm like, if I ever come back again, I go, I will absolutely go. So not only did he interview me, he interviewed me in my dad's house. And I will tell you, you talk about the energy, and whether you believe it or not, just go with me on this one. I walked up to that building, very emotional, obviously. I lost my dad when I was 14. And very emotional, and he took me out behind the house, and there was a cement pit that was built to catch the rainwater, and that's how they would do cooking, and they would do their laundry. And he said, put your hands on that. Okay. He goes, that's the last thing your dad built before he came to the United States. He goes, he built that with his hands. It's all concrete. I go, well, you mean with a form? He goes, no, he built that with his hands. And he goes, you put your hands in there. He goes, now put your hand on the building, and takes me inside, and they've got the fireplace going, and the interview was done at the fireplace where my dad used to cook and do everything. And it blew me away. So he's been working on this now for a year. In fact, just ironic you asked, just yesterday he called me and said, I've got the final edit I'm working on. And so then he's going to put it out to different festivals and different things and see where it goes. It could be just 3 Irish guys in a pub watching it for all I know, and that's fine if that's what it's going to be, but he has put his heart and soul into it. He interviewed a number of people who worked with me, a number of my wife's friends, my son's 2 best friends, all as part of give a complete picture of who these 2 people were, and both one dying of cancer and one dying of mental illness that was terminal. And let's give the whole picture. And it's been amazing. So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, that was the trip. The trip just to I would have walked across the ocean to go stand in my dad's house. It was powerful. Really, really. I felt him there. And very cool.
That is really cool. And thank you for sharing that with all of us.
No, it's first time I've talked about it. Yeah. So we'll. Sorry, Noel, if I jinxed it. Not good. Not ready to go anywhere yet, but it's been the labor of love, that's for sure.
Awesome stuff, Pat. I love, again, how the signs, how your family continues to just guide you.
Yeah. I think for all of us, we all get them. It's just a matter of whether you're open to them or not.
If you're open to them
right.
or not.
Otherwise, you just say, well, that was a coincidence, and I don't believe that there's anything. Somebody told me once that coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. Just like, okay, it's all part of the plan, whether you don't have to like it or not, you don't have to agree with it or not, but it's all part of the plan. And when you look later, you go, well, how did I meet Sara? How did I meet you? How did that work? How did our paths cross? Why did we connect? It's not a coincidence. We're supposed to be sitting here today. I don't know why. Hopefully somebody's listening to what we're talking about or is going to listen to what you're both going to speak about. They're going to have an aha moment, and they're going to go home better than they were when they got here. And I think that was Bobby's intention about this whole FDIC, was send you back home a little better than you were. And he believed in that holistic view, not just better firefighter, but better mom or dad and just a better person.
Good stuff. This is why nobody wants to follow you.
Yeah, no.
When you're talking.
That's why my mom thought I'd be a good priest. I could stand up there and just preach for a while.
I can see that.
And pass the basket. Is there a basket we could? No, there's nobody here to pass it to. So.
My goodness. How long have you actually been going to this place? Do you have any idea?
So I actually used to come before. I used to come here before I was doing fire service research. I come with my dad. Yep.
Working in his booth.
Yep. So, and I'm trying to remember if I ever came with came here with him when he was just before he bought the company. But since then, the WHP training towers. Yeah, I used to work his booth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I worked for him when I was in grad school.
So, yeah, according to Facebook, my memories, I think it's been 14 years since I've been coming here.
Oh, I was like, I'm on your Facebook memories coming to FDIC?
No, but it's true that we first met, the two of us met in 2013 when we did the FCSN's white paper.
Yeah.
Right
and you
afterwards.
said you were surprised I was smart.
You should tell everybody that story.
Did I ever tell you this story?
No.
So we're driving down the street. We've done the white paper for FCSN. It's Jim's job to take me to the airport. So we get in the car and we're driving and we're just chatting, about like whatever. So he asked a question about some research question and I was like, oh, so actually there's a study, and he starts laughing. And I go, why are you, like, it's not funny. It's data, it's science. So like, why are you laughing? And he goes, sometimes I forget you're smart because you just come across so stupid most of the time.
He's just such a charming man.
He didn't say stupid. He goes, you just seem like such a normal person, and then you start talking smart.
Yeah. You watched too many science shows on TV when you were younger, probably, because they were all, with the goggles and the white coats.
Fuck you, Jim.
You can't say that. We're live.
No, she said I could. She said that was fine. She said, and I didn't.
She said, "God bless you." For those of you who heard the mumble, that's really what she was saying.
Oh, goodness.
She said, "We've had some F-bombs dropped," and I said, "Well, then I'm ready to go. Let's do this." Sorry. Okay, I'll work on my language. No, I won't.
I knew. I said outside this booth that she was the one that I was worried about because she is out of control.
That's okay.
Brian.
Yeah. No, that's those are the people that are getting nervous going, are there any more coming?
You're like, oh,
Yeah.
this
No.
is
Should have
really
never let him in
anyway.
that fishbowl.
This is a horrible
So
idea.
you've been coming here for a long time.
I have been coming here for a long time.
How long have you been coming here?
Well, I made chief in &94. So
Was this still in Cincinnati?
This was in Cincinnati. First time I went. And I don't remember if that was '94 or what it was, but yeah. And I came as a student, and then got invited to be an instructor, which was an honor to come and speak, because you see so many people from so many different regions of the world that you're like, holy cow, where are you from? What are you talking about? And to watch it grow and to watch it make it through the challenges of COVID and still survive, because so many conferences just didn't make it out of that realm. And I think it's the dedication. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I said, your attendance is great. Women in Fire had the biggest attendance they've ever had.
Standing room only.
The attendance here has been awesome. And I said, I really think part of that is almost a mission for Bobby. Like, we're not going to let this go just because you're not physically here. He's definitely here, but you're not physically here. We're going to make this keep going because it's that important. And so, yeah, a long time. A long time from the standpoint of people who used to pass me in the hall and go, hi, Pat. Now they go, hi, sir. Wow, that just hurts. That just hurts. Like, Kenny, would you like to take one of those yellow carts? Can we ride you somewhere? And I'm like, no, I can honestly, son, I can walk that far. So
That's good. Good stuff. When did you two first meet?
4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Where were we at? Where were we
Was
both
that
teaching
Ohio?
at? Yeah, Ohio.
It was in Ohio.
Yeah.
Was it my conference?
I'm trying to think. That was the first thing that popped into my head.
It
Was
might
I
have
think
been.
it might have been your conference, because then we came back again later when we were
Yeah.
with Chief Sendelback.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could
Yeah.
have been yours.
Okay.
So
has-
see, you look at the
I
role
thought-
you played.
Well,
and-
no,
Yeah.
I thought you guys actually knew each other longer than that. But he has the ability, and I think you would back it up. Like, you talk to him for 5 minutes, and you feel like you've known him forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Irish Blarney.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my
Gift.
people too.
I'll be wherever I'm supposed to be at this time next year. How's that?
That's a good answer. I will accept that. Not that it was a wrong answer. either.
I felt like when
No.
I said no, it was just like, hey, when you looked at me
It's
like,
not
oh, what do
real
you mean
brick.
no?
They,
It looks really nice though. It looks
but
like
it is. It is. The fishbowl. It should look more like. It should have fish though. Then.
Well, that's
Yeah.
all the people that are kind of just swarming outside, stopping.
I think we are the
Making mouth.
fish.
Oh, we're the fish.
I think that's the point, right? Yeah.
Oh.
No, we are the fish.
Oh goodness.
They're gonna figure out, do they want to keep walking past this
Right.
tank, or do they
Like,
want to
just-
stop
All right. What other kind of things are you doing any other thing like the 5K, the Fool's Bash, the Union Party, anything else this week?
I've already been in meetings. I've already had a meeting this morning. The Women Fire is doing a new emerging issues on.
I didn't ask about meetings and work. I actually was asking
On the
more about
social end.
fun and social stuff.
Well, I'm sorry that I was sharing what I had to say that I thought was interesting and important. Let me talk about where I'm going to drink.
I didn't say that.
You started off with the 5K.
Are you going to have
Yeah.
Are you going to have fun this week, or is it all business?
I think I'm going to do the NFFF event Thursday night. I think that's on my list. Pretty high up there. Go congratulate. You just saw they announced that Victor Stagnero is taking over
I did
for
see
Ron
that.
Sarney.
Yeah,
I'm
which is very cool.
excited
He's
about
great.
that.
Victor is an awesome person.
Yes.
Beyond a great
Yes.
professor.
I tried to get him as my guest, but
He was like, I'm too
So
important
we-
now. He's like,
Clearly.
you don't even know.
So we were
I'm
low
kidding,
bid,
I'm
Sarah.
kidding.
We
Right.
were
I
low
tried to get
bid.
him as my guest, and when everyone else said no,
I filled the other two
picked
seats.
you two
Yeah,
putzes
see,
off
that's-
the street.
I got
That's fine.
I got
That's cool.
desperate.
It should be- that's-
Well, I
I
knew,
feel so loved right now.
I do. I feel lost. Is the door closed? Oh yeah, it is really close. If I
Yeah.
needed to go. No, you can't help but come here and have fun, whether you're in the structured events or not. I mean, you run into people. I've walked behind Sara. She can't get more than 10 feet without somebody knowing her or giving her a hug. If you go out any place here, whether you're going for dinner or you're going for a drink or whatever, all of a sudden you have 3 or 4 people around you and you have like your own little party. The structured ones are great because each group that puts them on, it has as a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're going for the benefit of that group as well as the social. But you don't even have to have it structured. Unless you lock yourself in your room, you're going to be involved with people. And that's the neat part. It kind of relights your spirit coming down. I found that. I saw a number of people, because I felt so bad about Bobby not being here. And I saw so many of his friends, and I felt like giving them a hug was like giving him a hug. Like, okay, this is good. And it picked me up. And so that's, I think, a big part of this. Well, any place that we go is the socializing is important. I still owe Sara a beer. I keep promising her I'm going to bring her a beer, because we went out one time, and I think it was after we were in Ohio, and just sat and talked. And I picked so much up in that hour that was not part of what the class was, but taught me things that I used. And I think people who come here, they all do that. We've done that.
Yeah. The classes are always great, and you're always going to learn a lot from these classes, but the networking,
hands down,
the discussions, just to seeing how somebody does things differently,
right,
is amazing. And you've got 30,000 firefighters from all over the world converge to this city all at the same time, and it's just it's craziness. It's good stuff. I mean,
it is. I think the one lesson that I learned yesterday, that if you're new in the fire service, and maybe even more importantly if you're not, if you've been in a long time, you get a little bit complacent, is to walk into a business and have something on, it's like a fire logo, and have somebody say, are you with the fire conference, and say, yes, I am. Then you worry a little bit, was somebody in here and overserved last night, or what was it? And they go, thank you for your service. And it's like, no, I'm retired. You don't need. It's like, no, thank you for what you all do. And that's not me. That's talking about the service in general, all the men and women in it. And you're like, whoa, it's an honor to be part of this service, and it never goes away.
This is, I mean, you're right. All these restaurants, I mean, this is a big week for them.
Yeah, right.
Big week for them. There's only one other week that's bigger than FDIC here in this building.
What is it?
Anybody want to guess? Anybody?
Indy 500.
Somebody do with the Indy? Yeah, that's what I was going to guess.
No. Future Farmers of America.
Oh.
They blow this place up. I mean think about
Okay, yeah.
I bet
instead of fire trucks,
right,
now you're dealing with, your rock trucks and dozers and just all that kind of stuff throughout these buildings.
Well, that's my next book,
And
Taking the Overalls Off.
that is the number one, the busiest
I don't
week
think
here
you're
in Indy.
supposed to take- No.
No,
I
okay,
think
that could be, yeah, that
the
might be
cape's
bad.
okay because you're dressed
That's right,
underneath
that's
it.
right,
I
taking
think
the
that's a
overalls
little-
off.
You can
Might
you
be-
can even
might be
use that in your
overboard.
classes next few days.
Taking your clothes off?
Taking the overalls off?
No, I'm still talking about the
see-
Future Farmers of
Oh,
America.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
we
yeah,
had
good
a little
one.
sidebar conversation.
I'm PG,
Yeah.
clearly. Yes. Saintly.
What does PG stand?
Yeah.
We won't point it out at this point.
You're asking me.
Yeah.
I know.
You've got
No.
the science.
I'm trying to sell, we're doing these skin cancer screenings, which, by the way, have you
Yeah.
guys both signed up for your skin cancer screenings?
No, but I do go for it annually.
So there's FCSN Detect Together we have a grant through FEMA, through the Fire Prevention and Safety Grants, and we're doing, you can sign up to go with this fantastic dermatologist. That's the other really fun thing that I'm doing. I'm going to go talk to the derm folks, and they do a full body. I'm like, can we make it like
Is she out of
Massachusetts.
Chelsea?
Candler?
Yeah.
Yep. She's fantastic. I think that we should have T-shirts. Like I got naked at FDIC.
There you go.
You got what?
I could,
That's what because you
gotta-
do
you gotta
for
do
the
like-
skin cancer chat.
Yeah,
They're like,
right,
turn the
right,
cameras
yeah,
off.
right.
But don't you think that that would be catchy and people would ask you about it? And then you could say, yeah, it was for a
Down.
skin cancer screening.
I'll tell you what, public service announcement. So I went, the dermatologist that I went to, I never used to go to a dermatologist, and my significant other talked me into going a couple of years ago, and I had the beginnings of pre-cancer on my lower lip,
Yeah.
and it was just a little bit raw, and I go, I've really been good
Down.
the last 10 or 12 years about sunblock and everything, and she looked at me and she goes, so how many times were you outside in the winter when it was below zero? And I can't count. She goes, so did you put on anything on your lips? I'm like, no. She goes, did you even think about it? I went, no. She said one of the most common areas she sees in firefighters is your lower lip, because all of that, everything, the elements really take that surface And then all of a sudden, so I get to go through a treatment that wasn't very pleasant, very lucky compared to people who have cancer. But it really taught me, like, you really have to have your game on. And I thought about, I called our mutual aid division and said, you might want to pass this on to the chiefs and go, it's easy to put a little tube in your pocket so you got it.
Yep.
But I go, we're not aware of that. And it's out
Yeah.
there. And so do you make that part of the annual physical, saying, we're going to have a dermatologist look at you as part of the annual physical?
So we just had a meeting. We were at the OC Health ACOM meeting, and we were talking to some OC Health folks who were like, we need to have a dermatologist talk us through like exactly what to look for. And I'm like, we've got some dermatologists. That's what I think is really cool about like right now in the
Yeah.
fire service, is that all these people are like, there's so much progress. I really feel like we're at a tipping point of progress and change, especially on the health and wellness side. And so I think it's exciting. I think the fact that FEMA funded people to come do a skin care, that we have dermatologists that in the area that are engaged in this and volunteering to come and spend their time and just have the conversation. Dad had some malignant melanoma removed from his neck, and it was right around the time cancer research was really kind of starting to skyrocket. And his dermatologist said it was probably sun exposure, and Dad's like, he never had. And then right after that, the graphics that Jeff Stoll did, where have you seen that?
Yeah.
Where they
2015.
they had
Fluorescent aerosol screen test, fast test for short.
Full,
Look, I could talk science
full
stuff
PPE.
too.
It's so weird because sometimes I forget.
93% more.
Sometimes I forget you're
absorbent.
smart.
I'm not.
That's what.
It's
that's,
That was a
I've
get even,
returned
folks.
that.
Just so
I've
we know,
returned
that was a
too.
get even
Sometimes
there.
I forget you're smart. You just seem like a normal person. But anyway.
Well done, Doc.
Thank you. Here, flip that. No, but it was that. But it had just come out where they had done that. And they sprayed them with the fluorescent and then looked at it, and you saw like at the interfaces and where the new hoods obviously.
Yes.
So much better.
Departments can afford that, but yeah, and it was right. I mean, it was a hard.
Well, and it's probably right. The reason why I got my cancer too.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I'd love just really how far that topic has come regarding in this place, because I remember the first year being here as the Firefighter Cancer Support Network, working the booth, because I've done it all now. I've worked the booth, I've went to classes, and now I'm teaching classes. So, but our booth was upstairs. It was hidden.
Yeah.
The only way people found it is if they were trying to find a secret place to make out.
Or does that happen a lot here? And is that a thing?
That's
Not that I've ever been aware
back then,
of.
and we're talking 14, 15 years ago.
Oh, that was a thing then?
Apparently. Yeah. And so we went from being hidden, out of sight, out of mind, to where if you go on this main floor, you can't throw a
All
rock
over the
and
place.
not hit something that's related to cancer.
Yeah.
And
you
behavioral health, too.
Right,
There's
right.
a lot.
Absolutely.
You never saw programs here 10 years ago that were dealing with behavioral health. I mean, it was if you did, it was somebody in a room and they had 4 people, and those 4 people all needed therapy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't somebody that was open to, well, I want to hear what this is. Maybe it impacts me. How do I do a better job with my family and my department? Now you look at the pamphlet and pre-workshops, workshops. I mean, hands-on, it's like people are, and they're all getting full by amazing, read the names of people, and you go, holy cow, this is an all-star team.
It's still got all your tactic stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Plenty of tactic stuff. But you're right. There's a health and safety class pretty much every period, whether it's cancer or behavioral health.
Right.
You can get that education here from really the best of the best.
Right.
Well, and people show up for the classes now. Like the first couple of times I taught here, I got into the class and it was like the very last day, the very last session type thing. And I'd get in there and it'd be like 4 people.
Right.
And I'm like, oh. And now, like, people show up and they stay and they ask questions. And they ask, these intelligent, very thoughtful, like, what's next? Big questions, minutia. I mean, it's fun. It's engaging.
Well, we kidded before, but the
conversation.
fire service does care about the science now, because
Oh, my
we've
gosh.
finally gone, okay, I'll change, because we love so much to change. I'll change, but you have to prove to me I should change.
And, which I think is smart.
I do too. I think that was always a reasonable request.
Well, because I think, there's a saying like, oh, something, it's doing something's better than doing nothing. But sometimes doing something is not better than doing nothing if doing something is harmful. So like, so sleep. I think the perfect example is sleep. So there's a study that we put out with Joel Billings. He's down in Oklahoma. And we were looking at 24-48 versus 48-96. And originally, like it was going to be the comparison of the shift structures. Now, but neither departments was that busy, so it ended up. It obviously has some limitations and generalization, but the key finding of it had nothing to do with 24-48 versus 48-96. It was really the shift start time, which I have to be careful because I regularly say shit start time, and I don't care what time your shit starts. But looking at 7 a.m. change. A lot of people are coming to work short slept and they're leaving work short slept because they're getting up for that 7 a.m. change. So then the question is, can you change the shift start time and have better outcomes? Or do people just accommodate to it, right? Do they just go, oh, we're going to, go to bed a little bit later? Are we going to, or does it have impacts for other things? I don't know. It's an empirical question. So should we go ahead, should we start advertising everyone needs to, change to 9 a.m.? No, not until we know that that's a wise choice and a good thing to do. So we actually have a proposal to do that, where one's going to change from 7 to 8, one's going to go 7 to 9, one's going to change from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., the reverse shift. Oh. Yeah.
Well, you know what that's going to roll into that I've heard, because we travel around the country, and recruiting and retention in the fire service has just taken such a bang. The volunteers have always struggled the last few years with that. But now we run career tests in Illinois, and you're not getting enough people to even fill a list. Yeah. And a lot of it is the shift work. Mm-hmm. I'm gone from home. I'm gone somebody doesn't want to be even gone for a 24-hour period. So some of the discussion when I've traveled around the country is, well, we're looking at no more block shifts, no more all day. Somebody might work during the day and be able to be home for dinner with their family. The other people are home for breakfast and for schoolwork, and then they go in at 6 o'clock. But you watch people's heads explode when there's a discussion about that. Well, we're not changing our shifts. It's like, okay, but so there's got to be a good reason to go. Right. But look at what it's doing to your longevity, your sleep. What long term? What's the effect of being a firefighter when you work those sleep patterns? Yeah. And it's as a retired guy, I figured simplistic. I'll retire and I won't have that pager anymore, and I won't have my phone to worry about it. I will sleep like a log, and it has not happened. It's no different than when I was working. Same, that alert where you wake up and go, okay. And I worry about that sometimes, the long-term effect of what it's done. Or I use that as an excuse of, well, I get goofier in hell sometimes.
You know what? You got to read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Did you read it?
That's on my list. No, Chief Sendelbeck told me, he challenged me.
If you're not a book reader, he's got a couple TED Talks that are phenomenal.
He's got podcasts.
Yeah, Matthew Walker. Well, I plug him in my class. I'm sure you do too.
I think that why is he so mean to me?
Wow. I think he's just a little
jealous,
unnerved that you're up against him, and there's a little male insecurity. Not that we have any of that. That doesn't usually occur. But
I'm not willing to bet you on attendance. I won't do that.
Oh, we should.
No, I'm good. I don't want to go.
I'll be giving away.
He asked me to walk around with a sandwich board later with her class.
I'll be giving away my sister's car in my.
There you go. See?
My class.
She took it away from me now, so I've still got your truck though. So don't try it. It ain't gonna happen.
No, you know what look at it. Look at all the fun people here. What I love about that book, I used to say, it scared me into sleeping better.
That's what I had heard.
But you know what? It didn't. I'm always looking for the opportunity and a challenge. And what I realized is it didn't scare me into sleeping better. It gave me permission to prioritize my sleep. So where before I would feel like, it's so lazy for me to take a nap, or I feel so lazy going to bed early. Or even there's data that shows that if your option is either to get a full night's sleep or get up and work out. Now, I'm not saying don't work out. You absolutely should work out. But if you have to decide on that trade-off, you're actually better off getting the full night's sleep.
And the workout.
The overall benefit. And so I think it gave me the permission to go, all right, I'm going to bed early. I'm checking out, obviously not at FDIC, but other than this week, I definitely feel the need to prioritize my sleep. This is exhausting. Like my voice, I was up till midnight going, oh, blah, 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 we should do, blah, blah, blah. And you know what we should do next? It was a fun time. But why are you, he's always laughing at me. What is wrong with this guy? The guy's out there like, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's mean. But that's what I think it really does, because everything. So if you think about short sleep is defined as 6 hours or less, right, on average. So what we know, fire service wise, people are coming into work with about 5.6 hours sleep. They're leaving work with about 5.81 hours sleep on average, right? Yeah. So that's 20 days a month that you're short sleeping. 6 or less hours of sleep is related to every negative health outcome: increased risk for cancer, decreased testosterone, decreased sperm quantity and quality. Cardiovascular disease, diabetes. Right. A third of the fire service has a sleep disorder, often undiagnosed. So like low-hanging fruit, screen your firefighters for sleep disorder, and if they have one, get it treated. Because you know what? That increases that, looking at the relationship, triple the risk of post-traumatic stress and depression if you have a sleep disorder. Like, fun, and that costs nothing. In your wellness program, it costs nothing to screen. It's an online check. You might have a sleep disorder.
It is, and I think that because we got so used to it, that there's almost a guilt feeling of I'm gonna take a nap, or I'm gonna go to bed earlier. And like you said, you have a great analogy about, I am sure the hell not going to skip a workout so that I can roll over in bed.
Right.
Like, I'm going to go do the workout no matter how tired I am. It's like, you see definitely the impact on you, even just on your emotions. Like when I'm sleep deprived, it's like I'm much more ornery. I'm much more likely to get emotional. I make bad decisions. I can quantify what I do.
That hairpin trigger.
Oh yeah, and I'll go, okay, you obviously are just when you're called crabby. It's usually you're sleep deprived.
Is any of your stuff going to look at actual shifts? I know you mentioned before 24/48s. You mentioned starting at in the PM hours. What about like the West Coast is really popular with your 4896s. East Coast, a lot of it is 24/72s. Yep. Like, you looking at any of that? So
I think that's next step. I think here's the challenge with that. Here's the challenge with looking or researching sleep in the fire service is you have, like, we used to go, okay, well, this department's on 4896, this department's on 24/72, this department is on. But even within the same department, like we randomly selected 2 districts and then 3 houses within districts in LA County. So we were in one firehouse where it took all freaking day to get the data because they were just out. It was like they were not ever in the station. They ran all day, they ran all night. We were at the same department sitting in a firehouse where we like kicked back, drinking Folgers coffee. Like they did not get a call the entire time. So one of the things that I think we didn't realize at the time, we just quantified it by like excessive daytime sleepiness, on duty and off duty, based on the shift schedule of the department. We now are realizing that it's not a dumb way to do it. It was the original way we thought was effective, but the more research we've done, the more we realize that you got to look at the individual level. Like, and that's what when people ask me about what the best shift structure is, I'm like, you have to think about the busiest house at the busiest time of year and think, can they do that? Are you comfortable with those folks being 72 hours without sleep if it's if they're doing trade time, even 24 or 48 hours without sleep? Oh, actually, because they just walked by, I have to mention this. Hold on. The Dr. Kenny Fent is standing outside the fishbowl right now.
He is.
And this is so important to everyone.
Right.
I don't know if we're supposed to be engaging with the people that are out there. Oh, okay. Well, the Kenny Fent is right there. We're taking a selfie with him right now. Thursday, the National Firefighter Registry is going to be on the main stage. So this is.
She's got a good shot.
Yeah. So this is, they're going to be launching National Firefighter Registry. You can technically enroll now, but we need to get 200. Look at all our fun friends out there. Tataro's out there. 372,000 firefighters. I make it more every time. Thank you. Good. You're showing. Hey, Kenny, wave to the camera. Wave to the camera.
Sarah, is this what it's like when you start up your OnlyFans?
Same but different. So the National Firefighter Registry is launched. So
Who wants to see Sarah's feet?
You can get on now. And my ankles are actually quite average for a woman my height. Thank you. Jerks. I'm trying to talk about something very important.
This is important.
Sorry.
All right, stop it now.
National Fire Registry.
National Firefighter
I
Registry.
did it. Took about 15 minutes.
And it was so easy,
I did
right?
too.
It was good.
And
Okay.
it includes retirees, which is really important.
We
really
want
important.
retirees, we want career, we want volunteer, we want men, women, we want everyone who's ever been on a fire truck to enroll in this. Now,
200,000.
200,000 plus another 200,000.
Right.
Because a lot of this stuff, especially the stuff on, like, we talked a lot about this with women in fire. Like, we don't have data on risk for breast cancer among women because we just don't have enough women. So if we can get this in the registry. Now, here's the thing, and I'm very clear with this. I think we all need to be very clear when we talk to people about it. You are required to give the last 4 of your social security number. Was it painful?
No.
Was it scary?
No.
So this is why. Because you are not giving Kenny and his team your social security number. He is part of the government. They gave it to you. You are just telling them when you die, when you get cancer, to pull that information and put it in the firefighter registry, to put it in that cancer registry. Your data from your cancer is in a state registry. It says pull it into this group. So they've already got your number. They've already got it. You're just telling them where to.
You don't have to have cancer to do it.
No,
Correct,
no.
no.
We
And
want
it'll know if you do get diagnosed.
Yep.
Down the line, it'll take care of itself automatically.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I sent it to all of the major organizations we had, to all their retiree groups. I said, I
Yes.
explained it. I said, I hope you're 100% healthy, but it'll help track. And I go, if you want to know you're still helping save people because you're retired, this is one way you can go about doing
Let's
that.
do it.
Part of that database. It really is incredibly important, and it is really easy. If I can do the survey, anybody can do the survey. It's very easy to do.
Yeah. And this way we'll be able to, like, pulse surveys and figure out, like, look at different nationally, what are we seeing? We'll be able to look at trends or the differences by state.
You gotta be so excited.
I'm so excited.
Nerding out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is like a Super Bowl. The Super Bowl of nerddom right now with the National Firefighter Registry. Like, it's, yeah.
And it's the perfect time to launch it because people before would not be open to providing any of that data.
Right.
Even like, we're suspicious of everything. It's like, no.
But I
No,
mean,
we got to do
know
something.
just last year, nearly 75% of the names they put on the wall in Colorado Springs
Right.
were from cancer.
Right.
So I mean, we're overdue for trying to.
Yeah, it's a foe we have to
We're
battle.
doing everything we can, and I do like this newer generation. Is kind of they take ownership
Yeah.
of their health, and they want to be able to get through that career and enjoy their retirement. So
Hands down.
that's good as well. But
Well, I
I'm
think-
excited to see what this brings.
I think the expectation should be, around all this health and wellness stuff, like even physicals. People are like, oh, I don't want to do the department physical. Like, the department owes you a physical.
Right.
You're putting yourself in harm's way. You know you're being exposed. Like, they owe that to you. And this, I think that anytime someone passes from cancer, anytime someone gets a diagnosis, and people say, like, what can we do for you? Go register for the firefighter registry.
Right.
Because it is so important, and it's not going to happen. Like, I can stand there and tell people all day to do it, and I think we'll have 2 or 3 people sign up. But if you talk to every person you talk to every person and say, like, no, I'm not kidding, to do that.
Do you talk about it in your class?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Of course you do.
yeah, and I talk about it way better than
So if
Jim
you wanna
talks
know,
about it
you
in
go to
his
Sarah's
class.
class,
So
not
if
to
you
Jim's
really want
class.
to be in an amazing session on Friday, right here.
Well, and I think, too, for the part of the audience that doesn't go, and you can split their classes then, the paid on call, because talk
Yeah.
about sleep deprivation, they don't come back and climb
Oh.
into a bunk.
Oh, yeah.
And we talk about exposure, we talk about shift. They can't even sometimes relate. Having run a career department and then run a combination, I was so unaware of thinking about that. You're sleep deprived with your regular
All
job.
the
Then you
time.
come in at 2 a.m, you're there for an hour and a half, you go back, can't fall back asleep, and then you go to work.
Yep. Yep.
We have to track all of that and encourage them to be part of the study because you're a firefighter regardless of whether you work a shift or get paid or whatever. We care about your life too.
Yeah.
So I know it's about time for us to close up. Once again, Sara will be teaching Friday morning 8:30. I'll be teaching Friday morning, 8:30. Pat, you are.
I'm teaching Thursday at 10:30 because I don't like competition.
So, yeah. So once again,
Ridiculous.
thank you to my guest. I don't know if you got any shots of the dog, but we had a dog here as well. But Dr. Sara, Pat, always
An
a
honor.
pleasure.
An honor.
Always a pleasure, and to have
We
you both
enjoyed
the
it.
same show, same time in the Fishbowl at FDIC Live, where the only one that cussed was Sara, which
And
if
it was
I,
only one time.
I would have won
Right.
that bet if it was on a sports betting book.
It was only one time. The other
Yes.
time I stopped myself, I said,
She did. She
Yeah.
did. Fukin.
So-
As they say in Ireland, fukin. So that wasn't a swear word.
Thank you,
Just
Fire
so you know.
Engineering, for the opportunity, and we hope we see you guys at our class.